They called it the miracle of human evolution, a perfect machine, a biological marvel built to survive any environment, endure any hardship. Yet as Dr. Lena Voss stared at the latest medical scans displayed on the holographic table, she couldn't shake the growing sense of dread that settled in her chest. Nothing about the human body made sense anymore. It was as if evolution had played a cruel joke, scattering anomalies, glitches, and inexplicable failures across what should have been a flawless design. And that was terrifying. Lena's laboratory aboard the orbiting research station EOS was a fortress of cutting-edge technology, where scientists studied the limits of biology under extreme conditions. Here, isolated from Earth's comforting atmosphere and gravity, Lena and her team pushed human bodies to the brink, exposing astronauts to zero gravity, cosmic radiation, and untested pharmaceuticals. But recently, the results had been baffling. Muscles grew stronger, then weakened inexplicably. Bones hardened and then suddenly crumbled like fragile glass. Nervous systems sparked with bursts of uncontrollable energy. Every experiment unveiled more contradictions. Her colleague and closest friend, Raj Patel, was equally shaken. He rubbed his temple as he scanned the latest patient data, a digital readout flashing rapid heart rates that defied normal physiology. "It's like our bodies are rewriting their own rules overnight," he muttered, eyes scanning numbers that twisted logic. The things we thought were constants, homeostasis, cellular repair, metabolism, none of it holds steady. The bodies don't just adapt, they mutate unpredictably. We're dealing with a new kind of biology. The tension in the room was palpable. Across the station, reports flooded in from medical pods and testing chambers. One of the younger test subjects, a seasoned astronaut named Marco, had started to exhibit muscle spasms so violent that they fractured his own ribs. Another had developed an immune response that triggered extreme allergic reactions to the station's recycled air. No one could explain why. Medical teams were scrambling for answers, but the more they learned, the stranger the phenomena became. Yet, amidst the chaos, there was an odd humor to the situation. It wasn't every day that humanity's greatest evolutionary triumph became a living riddle, mocking centuries of scientific understanding. Lena found herself chuckling softly at one of the reports, a crew member whose sense of balance flipped constantly, causing her to walk upside down in zero gravity, confusing everyone else on the station. The body, it seemed, was playing tricks on itself, rewriting what it knew about reality. But humor faded quickly as the stakes grew clear. This wasn't just a scientific curiosity, it was a threat. If the human body, the vessel that carried their consciousness, could no longer be trusted, what did that mean for humanity's future in space? For colonization plans on distant planets? For survival beyond Earth's protective cradle? Captain Elena Marquez entered the lab, her presence commanding attention. She was a seasoned leader, her calm demeanor a steadying force amid the scientific frenzy. "Status report," she demanded, her voice cutting through the hum of machinery. Lena briefed her on the anomalies, the fractured ribs, the unpredictable mutations. "We're seeing more than biological adaptation. It's like the human body is unstable, evolving in real time, but without guidance. We don't know how far this will go or what it means for long-term missions." Marquez frowned. "That's unacceptable. If our own biology is a ticking time bomb, the mission is at risk. We need solutions, and fast." Raj nodded. "We're exploring gene editing therapies, but they're too slow and unpredictable. We're essentially trying to catch a moving target blindfolded." The room fell silent as the weight of uncertainty sank in. Lena's gaze drifted to a series of old photographs pinned on the wall, images of humanity's early explorers, those who dreamed of the stars despite fragile bodies and mortal limits. The irony wasn't lost on her. They had come so far, only to find their own flesh betraying them in ways science couldn't explain. As night cycles shifted on the station, Lena lay awake in her quarters, mind racing with questions. How could a biological system so complex and refined become so erratic? Was this the next stage of evolution, a leap beyond understanding? Or a deadly flaw that would doom humanity's cosmic ambitions? Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft beep, a message from the station's AI, Artemis. "Dr. Voss, we have detected unusual activity in the medical bay. Vital signs from several crew members are fluctuating dangerously." Lena sprang up, heart pounding. This was no longer theory, the crisis was unfolding in real time. The body's rebellion was becoming a nightmare. It was time to face the terrifying truth: nothing about human bodies made sense anymore, and survival depended on unraveling the mystery before it was too late. Her first steps toward that unknown journey began now, where biology defied logic, and the future of humanity hung in a delicate balance between triumph and disaster. "You said." The alarms blared sharply through the corridors of EO's station, jolting everyone into frantic action. Vital signs from multiple crew members were spiraling out of control, erratic and alarming. Lena and Raj sprinted toward the medical bay, their minds racing to grasp the worsening reality. The human body's inexplicable rebellion was no longer an isolated puzzle, it had become a crisis threatening every life aboard the station. When they arrived, they found the med bay in chaos. Monitors flickered wildly, displaying irregular heartbeats, fluctuating blood pressures, and mysterious neurological surges. Marco, the astronaut who had already fractured his ribs in spasms, was writhing in pain, his muscles twitching uncontrollably. Nearby, another crew member's skin pulsed with strange bioluminescent patterns, an unexplainable symptom nobody had seen before. Raj knelt by Marco, quickly scanning his vitals. "This isn't normal muscle spasm," he said grimly. "It's like the nerves are firing without control, like the body's own feedback system is broken." Lena stepped forward, adjusting the parameters on the diagnostic tools, trying to stabilize the data flow. Every reading contradicted itself, creating an impossible cascade of conflicting information. Amid the chaos, Captain Marquez entered, her face hard with determination. "Status update," she demanded, eyes scanning the turmoil. "We're dealing with a breakdown at the cellular level," Lena explained. "The body's own regulatory systems are failing in unpredictable ways. It's as if evolution's rules are being rewritten inside their DNA." Marquez frowned. "And the cause?" "We don't know," Raj admitted. "It's not radiation, infection, or anything environmental we've detected. Something internal is triggering these mutations, spontaneous, random, and aggressive." The gravity of the situation pressed heavily on everyone. If the human body itself was turning hostile from within, traditional medicine and science might no longer be enough. The crew's safety depended on solutions beyond the limits of known biology. But amidst the despair, Lena's mind raced to a sliver of hope, a radical idea that might turn the tide. The body's erratic changes suggested that its genetic code was in flux, dynamically editing itself in response to stress or unknown triggers. What if they could communicate with this biological language rather than fight it blindly? She proposed an unconventional experiment, using a neural interface device, originally designed to help pilots control spacecraft with their thoughts, to tap into the body's genetic editing processes. If they could establish a feedback loop, perhaps they could guide the mutations, coax the body back toward stability instead of chaos. The plan was risky, untested and without precedent. But with no other options, Captain Marquez authorized it. Lena and Raj began retrofitting the neural interface, preparing to link it directly with a test subject's cellular network. The chosen volunteer was a veteran named Elsa, who had recently developed unpredictable immune responses, fluctuating between extreme inflammation and sudden collapse. As Elsa was prepped and connected to the interface, Lena's hands trembled with a mixture of fear and hope. They initiated the link, and a flood of data streamed into their monitors, streams of genetic code pulsing with patterns they could barely decipher. It was like trying to read a language spoken by millions of microscopic voices at once. Suddenly, Elsa gasped, her body still but alive with faint pulses of bioluminescence. Lena and Raj watched as the neural device sent calibrated signals into her cells, attempting to whisper instructions: stabilize here, slow down there, repair that sequence. Minutes passed like hours, tension thick in the air. Slowly, Elsa's vitals began to normalize. The spasms lessened, the glowing patterns faded, and the chaos inside her body seemed to retreat. The crew watched in awe, witnessing a fragile truce between humanity's biology and technology. Yet, as relief washed over the room, Lena knew this was only the beginning. The body's instability was a puzzle still unsolved, an ongoing battle between order and chaos within themselves. Their success depended on mastering this dialogue with their own flesh, pushing science into realms never before imagined. As word spread across EOS, other crew members volunteered for the neural interface trials, desperate for reprieve from their own bodies' betrayals. The station became a lab for uncharted biology, where mind and matter intertwined in a dance of survival. But new challenges emerged. The more they interfered, the more unpredictable the bodies became, sometimes reacting violently to the feedback signals. Lena realized they were dealing with an intelligence encoded deep within human DNA, a primitive, reactive consciousness that resisted control. The stakes escalated. If the body's wild impulses couldn't be tamed, the mission would fail. The colonization effort, the dream of expanding humanity beyond Earth, would collapse under the weight of their own biology's rebellion. And yet, amidst the escalating conflict, the crew's determination ignited a spark of innovation. They started using unconventional methods, meditative techniques, biofeedback training, and even humor, to soothe the body's turmoil. Raj joked about teaching the bodies to chill out, and the crew found themselves laughing through the tension, bonding over their shared fight. The situation was dire, but it was also a crucible forging a new understanding, that survival depended not on conquering the human body, but learning to listen, adapt, and coexist with its mysteries. The terror of unpredictability was balanced by the thrill of discovery. In this uncharted frontier of biology, humanity faced its most intimate enemy, and its greatest opportunity. The path forward was uncertain, but one thing was clear: nothing about human bodies made sense anymore. And that was both terrifying and exhilarating. The moment came faster than anyone expected. Just as the neural interface seemed to offer hope, the body's rebellion intensified with brutal force. Lena stood at the control console, eyes locked on Elsa's vitals, which suddenly spiraled into chaos. The bioluminescent pulses flared wildly, and her muscles convulsed violently despite the device's calming signals. The body was fighting back, an overwhelming, primal resistance that threatened to shatter everything they had worked for. The room erupted into controlled panic as medical teams scrambled to stabilize Elsa. Raj shouted over the commotion, "The interface is triggering something deeper, a defense mechanism embedded in our biology. It's like the body has a mind of its own, and it doesn't want to be controlled." Captain Marquez paced briskly, issuing commands. "Shut down the interface. Get her to the emergency chamber. We can't lose her now." Lena's heart pounded. The very tool they had hoped would save them was provoking their worst nightmare. This confrontation was not just a battle of flesh and technology, it was a clash between human will and an ancient biological consciousness encoded within their cells. As Elsa was rushed away, Lena felt the weight of responsibility crushing her. Their mission was on the brink of failure, but she refused to give up. If the body resisted direct control, maybe the answer lay in cooperation rather than dominance. Turning back to the data, she analyzed the patterns, complex waves of genetic activity, resembling a hidden language of survival. What if the body's mind wasn't hostile but misunderstood? What if, by empathizing and aligning their intentions, they could negotiate peace with their own biology? Lena proposed a daring new approach. Instead of forcing the body to obey through technology, they would seek to harmonize with it. Using advanced neurofeedback techniques, bioinformatics, and even psychological methods, they would teach the crew to influence their bodies through conscious will and emotional balance. Meditation, rhythmic breathing, visualization, all tools to communicate with the body's deep intelligence. Raj was skeptical but intrigued. "It's like teaching a wild animal to trust you," he said. "It's risky, but maybe that's what we need." The crew embraced this unconventional path. Sessions began where astronauts practiced mindful control, learning to listen to their bodies and respond with calm intention. Slowly, the chaotic symptoms softened. Muscle spasms became manageable, immune flares diminished, and nervous systems found new rhythms. The turning point came when Captain Marquez herself participated. She recounted how her own tremors eased after focusing on steady breathing and positive visualization. "It's not magic," she said. "It's respect for the system inside us." But the tension remained high. Each success was fragile, and setbacks frequent. The body's unpredictable nature meant they had to constantly adapt, learning new ways to coexist with their internal biological chaos. Then, an unexpected breakthrough. Lena discovered that certain emotional states correlated with stabilization patterns. Joy, laughter, and hope sent signals that soothed the body's ancient defenses, while fear and stress ignited flare-ups. The revelation was profound. Emotional resilience wasn't just psychological, it was biological. This insight inspired the crew to infuse humor and camaraderie into their daily routines. They shared jokes, sang songs, and celebrated small victories. The station, once tense and clinical, blossomed with warmth and life, as if the body's rebellion could be calmed by the simple power of human spirit. The climax of their struggle unfolded during a critical emergency. A sudden solar flare threatened to overload the station's systems, triggering widespread biological distress among the crew. Symptoms flared simultaneously, and chaos threatened to consume them. But this time, armed with new understanding, the crew united. Through guided meditation, synchronized breathing, and collective encouragement, they channeled calm into their bodies. Lena coordinated the effort like a conductor, while Raj monitored vitals, encouraging the crew with humor and steady presence. Slowly, the storm inside them subsided. Hearts steadied, muscles relaxed, minds cleared. They survived the flare not through machines or drugs, but through their own resilience and connection to their bodies. As the emergency passed, a collective cheer rose through the station. They had faced their greatest challenge, not an alien invasion, nor a mechanical failure, but the deepest, most personal conflict imaginable, the war within their own flesh. In that moment, Lena realized that humanity's greatest strength was not in mastering the body, but in embracing its mysteries, flaws, and unpredictable beauty. The human body defied logic and reason, yes, but it also carried the spirit of survival, creativity, and hope. The confrontation was brutal, terrifying, and humbling, but it forged a new path forward. They were no longer mere passengers in their bodies, but partners in a complex dance of life and evolution. This revelation was their victory. And as the stars shone brightly outside the station's windows, Lena felt a surge of hope. The terrifying chaos within their bodies had become a testament to human resilience, the ultimate story of survival in the vast unknown. The aftermath of the solar flare crisis left EO's station transformed, not just physically but in the minds and hearts of its crew. They had faced a battle unlike any other, a war waged deep within the fabric of their own beings. Yet from that chaos emerged an unexpected victory, a new harmony between mind and body, a fragile but growing alliance that promised survival against the impossible odds. Lena sat quietly in the common area, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The initial terror of their bodies' inexplicable betrayals had given way to curiosity, fear to determination, and confusion to profound insight. The human body, once a baffling enigma defying all logic, was now a partner in their fight to explore the stars. Their strategy had evolved from trying to control the body to learning its language, respecting its rhythms, and nurturing its resilience. The neural interfaces had been a bold experiment, but it was the simple acts, mindful breathing, laughter shared among friends, moments of calm, that had truly healed their fractured biology. The body responded not just to science but to spirit. Captain Marquez joined Lena, a rare smile lighting her usually stern face. "We've come a long way," she said. "I never thought we'd find answers in meditation and humor, but it seems that's what saved us." Lena nodded. "It's a reminder that evolution isn't always about control or perfection. Sometimes it's about adaptation, learning to live with the unexpected and finding strength in vulnerability." The crew had bonded in ways no one anticipated. They'd shared fears, weaknesses, and hopes, forging a community resilient enough to face the unknown. The body's chaotic rebellion had become a catalyst for deeper connection, not just within themselves, but among each other. Word from Earth filtered through with cautious optimism. Other stations and colonies were watching Eos's struggle and discoveries with great interest. Lena's team was preparing to share their findings, a blueprint for living in harmony with the unpredictable biology of space travelers. Their work could redefine human space exploration forever. Yet, despite the hope, Lena understood the journey was far from over. The body's mysteries remained vast and uncharted. Every success came with new questions, every breakthrough with fresh challenges. But now, armed with empathy and creativity, humanity was ready to face whatever came next. As she gazed out the viewport, stars scattered like diamonds against the velvet black, Lena felt a quiet sense of triumph. They had ventured into the cosmic unknown, only to discover that the greatest frontier was inside themselves. The terrifying unpredictability of their own bodies had revealed a truth far more profound. Survival was not about flawless design or perfect control, but about embracing imperfection with courage and humor. It was about the will to adapt, to laugh in the face of chaos, and to keep moving forward no matter how strange or confusing the journey. And so, with hearts steady and spirits unbroken, the crew of Eos prepared for the next chapter, bold explorers not just of space, but of the enigmatic, wondrous universe within. Their story was one of resilience, discovery, and the enduring power of human spirit. Nothing about human bodies made sense, indeed. And that was their greatest strength.